Good evening. It's 6:30 p.m. Monday, February 6th, 2023. This is a Kearney Board of Aldermen meeting. Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Shirley, have you had a chance to take roll?
I have taken roll. Everybody is present and you have a quorum.
Thank you. We have no personal appearances scheduled for this evening. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Are there any items of discussion or questions on the consent agenda this evening? Seeing none, can we entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda passes as presented. We'll move on to ordinances this evening. The first ordinance we have is a motion approving bill number 04-2023, presented by Mr. David Pavlich, our Community Development Director, an ordinance of the City of Kearney amending the electrical contractor licensing requirement. Do you have a report on that, Mr. Pavlich?
Just brief comments. City requires electrical contractors to have master licensing. A few years ago, the state implemented a statewide licensing, and we want to make sure our ordinance is consistent with what the state statutes require and reflect the state licensing.
Any questions from the board? If you could read the proposed ordinance on the first reading by title only, please.
An ordinance of the City of Kearney amending electrical contractor licensing requirements.
Move to approve on first reading.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Second reading by title only, please.
An ordinance of the City of Kearney amending electrical contractor licensing requirements.
Motion to approve. Go ahead. On second reading.
I'll second.
Pull the board, please.
Alderman Holt.
Aye.
Alderman Lehman.
Aye.
Alderwoman Barger.
Aye.
Alderwoman Spencer.
Aye.
Ordinance unanimously passes. Next ordinance is a motion approving bill number 05-2023. We expected our city attorney to be here this evening, so I will present this ordinance on his behalf. It's an ordinance approving and adopting an employment agreement by and between the City of Kearney, Missouri and Sheila Ernzen as our city administrator. Any questions from the board? It is the proposed agreement is an agreement that was as discussed in executive session, no changes. Any questions from the board on the agreement? Seeing none, if we can read the proposed ordinance, first reading by title only, please.
An ordinance approving and adopting an employment agreement by and between the City of Kearney, Missouri and Sheila Ernzen as city administrator.
Move to approve on first reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Second reading by title only, please.
An ordinance approving and adopting an employment agreement by and between the City of Kearney, Missouri and Sheila Ernzen as city administrator.
Pull the board, please.
Alderman Lehman.
Yeah, motion.
Can
Yeah,
we
we
get
have
a
a
motion? Can't pull yet.
The motion to
Sorry,
approve.
motion
on
to
second
approve on
reading.
second reading. Got a little ahead of myself.
I'll
Thank you.
second that.
Now we can pull the board. Thank you.
Alderman Lehman.
Aye.
Alderwoman Barger.
Aye.
Alderwoman Spencer.
Aye.
Alderman Holt.
Aye.
Ordinance unanimously passes. We'll move on to resolutions. First resolution this evening is a motion to approve resolution 02-2023 presented by Sheila Ernzen, our city administrator. A resolution creating an 8-member advisory use tax steering committee, defining the purpose and duties of the committee and providing for its organization and plan of operation.
This resolution is just to formalize the use tax steering committee that has already been created.
Any questions from the board? We entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. I'm sorry, the resolution is approved, rather. Second resolution this evening is a motion approving resolution 03-2023 presented by Sheila Ernzen, city administrator. a resolution creating an 8-member advisory city spirit committee, defining the purpose and duties of the committee, and providing for its organization and plan of operation.
This resolution formalizes the creation of the city's spirit committee.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. We'll move on to mayor's communication. A couple of things this evening is I would like to provide a special welcome. We have our elected Eastern Commissioner at Large, Joanne Lawson, here this evening. So thank you so much for being here and representing us well at Clay County.
Thank you.
Yeah. Second item I'd like to mention is just a reminder of our budget workshop on February 18th at 10 a.m. That is just a special work session meeting only. So that concludes my mayor's communication, and we'll move on to the city administrator's report.
The first thing I have tonight is I passed out the proposed fiscal year 2024 proposed budget. It's at the dais, and there is a short presentation that we're going to watch. I'm excited to present the fiscal year 2024 budget. The proposed budget document is available on the city's website. The budget summary letter, which begins on page 1, provides an overall summary of the changes from last year and the capital projects planned for the next fiscal year. I won't read it to you. I know you can do that on your own. I do, however, want to briefly explain the process that staff went through this year to develop this budget, and also share the main highlights with you. In prior years, the budget was prepared using the incremental budgeting method. This year's budget was prepared using the modified zero-based budget and target-based budgeting approaches. Each department was required to prepare a budget request as if it were being done for the first time, while focusing on the department's targeted essential service areas. Departments also considered the goals of the mayor and the Board of Aldermen when preparing their requests. While departments were preparing their budget requests, finance staff was identifying the available resources for fiscal year 2024. Revenues were projected using historical trends and current conditions, and also known information. Of the total $25.8 million of projected revenues in next year's budget, approximately 31% are anticipated to be generated from charges for services, 23% from sales tax, and 19% from debt financing. Finally, available resources were allocated to principal and interest payments on outstanding debt and core and essential services. The fiscal year 2024 highlights are based on providing essential services and also on achieving mayor and board priorities. One of the main priorities of the board and mayor this budget year is attracting and retaining existing employees. This resulted in a new proposed salary plan for all budgeted positions, which is based on current market rates for other public sector employees with similar education and experience. Additionally, a one-step merit increase for all eligible employees on their anniversary date, as well as an allowance for an additional step for exemplary service, is included. Increased funding for employee training and professional development is also in next year's proposed budget, along with 6 new full-time positions, which are made up of 2 additional police officers, a payroll accounts payable clerk, an economic development director, an assistant utilities and street director, and a GIS IT specialist. These positions are expected to reduce overtime costs, allow employees to take accrued time off, and increase core service levels. Critical planning for the city's many infrastructure systems was also a priority in the fiscal year 2024 budget. Wastewater, water, stormwater sewer, and transportation systems will all be studied and analyzed to ensure that the city is proactively addressing maintenance, as well as planning for the replacement of failing infrastructure that has reached the end of its useful life and planning for future growth. Costs are also included to finish up the I-35 and 19th Street interchange, including the roundabouts at 19th Street and at Nation Road. Substantial completion of this project is planned for the November 2023 year, with the final completion expected in May of 2024. Also included in the proposed budget is funding for the construction of Hall Park. This project is contingent on the city receiving a $500,000 Land Water Conservation Fund grant. We hope to hear some positive news about this grant award in the next few months. Funding has also been included to replace both the 12th Street and Shadowbrook stormwater culverts, which have reached the end of their useful lives. A 1 million gallon composite water tower is also planned to replace the current I-35 water tower and will be funded with debt financing. Additionally, water plant upgrades have been proposed to address water, taste, and odor issues that are a result of our water mixing with Kansas City's water. Our plant uses a different type of chlorine disinfectant than Kansas City uses. So funding in this budget will change our plant to match Kansas City, Missouri's disinfectant method using chloramines. The proposed budget partially funds the engineering and design costs for the Route 33 connector trail. Additional funds are expected to be needed from use tax collections in future years to complete the design. And finally, the cost of a feasibility and community engagement process for a city aquatic center is included, which is being funded by the shops at Kearney CID through a reimbursement agreement. There will be a community engagement process that will take place during fiscal year 2024. The process is expected to result in 2 ballot issues next April that would finance the construction and operation of an aquatic center. Through the community engagement process, residents will determine what features they need and want in an aquatic center. The annual budget is both the city's financial plan and policy document for the entire fiscal year. Adoption of the annual budget is the board's single most important duty. On Saturday, February 18th, we will meet to go into more detail about what is included in the fiscal year 2024 budget, especially what has changed from the previous year. I look forward to sharing more about the fiscal year 2024 budget at 10 a.m. on Saturday, February 18th. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this presentation and learn a little bit about the highlights of the 2024 budget.
So I ad-libbed at the end and it went off script, but because the intention of doing that video was really so that we could share just that part, possibly on social media and on our website, to try to make sure that citizens are informed about the budget. And so a little played around with Prezi, first time I used that software, and just really trying to make sure that that the community can be involved and can know what is included, and how their tax dollars are being spent.
Is that video on our website?
It will be. And so I think what Ryan's going to do tonight is he told me he would upload just that video to YouTube, and then I will be sharing it tomorrow on social media. So
Good job. I appreciate the effort there and the increased transparency. Thank you.
And then I just want to remind everybody, our next regular board meeting will be on Tuesday, February 21st, because of President's Day. And at our meeting, when you guys approved the Proposition A vote on the recreational marijuana sales tax, inadvertently, you were told that the 3% adult use marijuana tax would apply to medical sales. That is not correct. It only will apply to recreational use marijuana, if voters approve that. And I wanted to make sure that I got that correct information out. And that's all I have.
We'll move on to Alderman discussion. Alderman Barker.
I wanted to remind everybody that sometimes progress is a little painful, and so we've got a street closing that's going to be, the street's going to be closed for about 6 months, I believe. I think it's supposed to be back open in June at Watkins Drive and 19th Street, so make plans accordingly, but sometimes you pay a little price for a lot of progress.
Alderman Lehman.
I have nothing.
Alderman Holt.
I would like staff to look at something that was said last time about the water tower, about tearing down a water tower that's still not at its end. And I'd like to look for a new location for the new water tower. Because I'd like to keep that one in service as long as we could on it, because it's not at its end of its life. It just ain't big enough, but it's still serviceable. So, I mean, this may not be able to be something, but it's something that I'd like for us to at least look into.
I do know that the engineer did look for another location, and because this water tower services the low pressure system, we have two, a high pressure system and a low pressure system. They were not able to locate a high enough point that would be able to tie into that low, the low system pressure. So he did look at that. I can ask him to continue looking.
If you don't mind.
I will.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Alderman Spencer.
I have great news. I am very excited to finally be able to announce that a Smithsonian exhibit is coming to Kearney. We are one of 6 sites across the state that was selected for this honor, and we got the last spot. We will be sending this display out with a bang here in Kearney next year, May through June. It will be here for 6 weeks. This is a collaboration between 4 entities within our community. The Kearney Historic Museum, the Mid-Continent Public Library, Kearney Branch, the Kearney Chamber of Commerce, and the Kearney Enrichment Council. So Stacy Bratcher, Angela Gillette, Kurt Hamilton, and myself, and this crossed my desk last June, and we submitted an application and pulled together a lot of fun ideas, and it was accepted. So we are very happy to get this, and keep your eyes and ears peeled, because there will be more information coming out as we get closer to the date.
Great.
That's good for Kearney.
Very exciting.
If there's nothing further for Alderman discussion, can we entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting this evening?
Move to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Everybody have a good evening. Thank you.